Scripture to consider before the news. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. That he written down by Daniel the prophet is looking to be Prince Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia, home of Islam and its 2 major mosques, and we are getting closer to that covenant with many to start the final and 70th week to God's prophetic program. Now unto the news. Saudi stops contact with Israel over leaked news of MBS-Netanyahu meeting. In what looks to be political posturing, Saudi Arabia has stopped contact with Israel as punishment over leaking the news of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held 2 months ago, London-based Saudi online newspaper Elaph reported on Thursday. According to Elaph, an unnamed senior Israeli official said that Israeli relations with the Saudis had changed and revealed that the Saudis had entirely cut off contact with Israel. The official also explained that Saudi Arabia does not reply to US-mediated indirect communication, stressing that this came in response to the leaking of news about the meeting, which was denied by Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan. Elaph also reported the official stating that Saudi Arabia will not be signing a normalization deal with Israel unless progress is made on the Palestinian issue. In related news, Kushner says it's inevitable that Saudi Arabia and Israel will normalize relations. Kushner defended Saudi Arabia's silence on the UAE-Israel deal in an interview with CNBC over the weekend. I do think that we have other countries that are very interested in moving forward. From cries of betrayal to fears about falling dominoes, the deal making the United Arab Emirates the third Arab state to forge ties with Israel stirred anger and dismay around the Middle East, but a cautious welcome from the UAE's Gulf allies. The deal, which U.S. President Donald Trump helped to broker with support from senior advisor Jared Kushner, forms a new axis with the UAE aligning itself with Israel in confronting Shiite Muslim Iran and Sunni Islamist radicals in the region. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell so you can get notified whenever new Bible prophecy news videos are uploaded. Saudi Arabia hosts Israelis for Dakar rally after diplomatic inroads. Among the teams dashing around the dunes in their cars at the Dakar rally in Saudi Arabia this month, there were 2 whose presence would have been unthinkable a year ago. The participation of Israelis in the rally's lightweight vehicle and truck categories comes after a rapprochement between Israel and Arab states that has been in high gear, fueled by Riyadh's quiet ascent. In total, 10 drivers, navigators and support staff entered Saudi Arabia on Israeli passports, according to team member Omer Pearl. It was extraordinary, huge dunes that go on for hundreds of kilometers, said Danny Pearl, one of the Israeli drivers and Omer's father. For decades, Saudi Arabia, Islam's birthplace and supporter of the Palestinian cause, shunned official contacts with Israel, with virulent anti-Jewish rhetoric the norm among clerics. But Riyadh gave its assent to Israel's US-brokered formalization of relations last year with the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, although it held off on establishing full ties itself. Israeli airliners have since been permitted to cross Saudi airspace, trimming flight times. However, the rally website listed the teams as Belgian and American, a possible indicator of official reluctance to publicize an Israeli presence. The Saudi government's media office and rally spokespeople did not immediately respond to requests for comment. In related news, Saudi Arabia, sending right message to region, says Cyprus FM. Saudi Arabia's growing role in resolving regional issues has been praised by Cypriot Foreign Minister Nikos Christodoulidis during a visit to Riyadh. More and more countries are coming to understand that no solution can be found in the region without Saudi Arabia playing a leading role in the efforts, Christodoulidis told Arab News on Tuesday. It was something we believed in from the very beginning, and we are glad that more countries are understanding this reality, he said. Ties between Saudi Arabia and Cyprus have strengthened since the 2 countries reopened embassies in their respective capitals 4 years ago. In more related MBS news, Biden administration, to declassify report into Khashoggi murder. Decision would mean US could assign blame for death onto Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The Biden administration will declassify an intelligence report into the murder by the Saudi government of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, according to Avril Haines, who has been nominated to serve as Director of National Intelligence. The decision means that the US is likely to officially assign blame for Khashoggi's brutal murder to the kingdom's de facto ruler, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Khashoggi, a Washington Post journalist and U.S. resident who wrote critical columns about the Saudi crown prince, was murdered by Saudi agents inside the Saudi consulate in Turkey in October 2018. While media reports have said that the U.S. intelligence community determined with a medium to high degree of confidence that Prince Mohammed ordered the killing, that assessment has never officially been stated. The crown prince has denied he ordered the murder. Since then, Khashoggi's fiancée Hatice Cengiz and other human rights activists have called on Biden to release the classified report into the murder, saying that doing so was the first step towards seeking accountability. During Haynes's confirmation hearing on Tuesday, the Oregon Senator Ron Wyden said that, if confirmed as the new DNI, she would have the opportunity to, immediately, turn the page on the excessive secrecy and lawlessness of the Trump administration, and submit an unclassified report on who was responsible for Khashoggi's murder, as required under a February 2020 law that the Trump administration in effect blocked. Asked whether she would release the report, Haynes replied, "Yes, Senator, absolutely. We will follow the law." In a statement, Wyden praised the move, saying it was refreshing to hear a straightforward commitment to follow the law from Haynes. Lastly, Israel approves new East Jerusalem settlement homes just days before Biden sworn in. The Israeli government has approved the construction of 780 new housing units in Jewish settlements in the West Bank, regarded widely by the world as illegal. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered the construction of the new homes last week, just days before his support for such moves from Washington is widely expected to end with the transition to the Biden administration. The Higher Planning Council (HPC) of the civil administration on Sunday formally approved the new construction in the West Bank. Israel seized control of the West Bank in 1967, and most of the world considers construction in the area illegal. The Trump administration, however, has supported Netanyahu's policies of cementing control over the occupied, which is claimed by both Israel and the Palestinians as part of a future capital. Mr. Trump's administration has accepted Israel's claim to the ground, arguing that international laws that prohibit construction on the occupied territory are no longer relevant. The controversial push for new Jewish settler homes in the West Bank may be rooted in politics. Israel will hold national elections on March 23, and Netanyahu, who's facing trial on corruption charges, is determined to get as many votes from conservative, pro-settler parties as possible. Ordering settlement expansions will certainly help. Just before the last round of elections in March 2020, Netanyahu tried a similar strategy, declaring the annexation of parts of the Jordan Valley and other areas in the West Bank. The Trump administration poured cold water on the plan, and it never advanced. European countries quickly voiced concern over the Israeli government's latest intentions to allow new construction in the settlements. A spokesman for the United Kingdom's foreign ministry said in a statement that the government was seriously concerned by Israel's decision to approve the construction of 780 new settlement units across the occupied Palestinian territories, including areas deep within the West Bank which could threaten future peace negotiations. Settlements are illegal under international law and risk undermining the physical viability of the two-state solution. We call for the construction of these in East Jerusalem and elsewhere in the West Bank to cease immediately, the statement said. The anti-settlement Israeli pressure group Peace Now said that by promoting hundreds of settlement units, Prime Minister Netanyahu is once again putting his personal political interests over those of the country. Not only will this settlement activity erode the possibility for a conflict-ending resolution with the Palestinians in the long term, but in the short term it needlessly sets Israel on a collision course with the incoming Biden administration, the group predicted. There was no immediate reaction from the outgoing Trump administration to the construction approval, nor any indication from Mr. Biden's incoming diplomatic or security teams as to how his administration might react. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And stay tuned to Watchman Report for more Bible prophecy news. To learn how to receive forgiveness of sins and get your name in the Book of Life, visit beingjustified.com today. Behold, now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. Tomorrow is not promised. Make sure your eternal soul is being justified.